Hey, it's Jim with CGC Sports Illustrated. So I got so many comments from this week's unboxing video wanting a follow-up to the two copies that I got where the grades were really a big surprise on the downside for me. So one was a Steph Curry issue and the other was a Michael Jordan issue. And during my unboxing video, you could obviously see I was really surprised with both of the grades. And I got a ton of DMs and a ton of comments that said, hey, we'd love a follow-up to this. Let's see the grader notes. Let's talk about it a little bit more. So let's go ahead and do that. First of all, we're going to take a look at this Steph Curry 8.5. Now, I had projected this much, much higher. You know, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get in here and have it focused so that you guys can see how clean that spine is. I mean, you can see that spine, just the tiniest little dent there, that is an ultra clean spine. The rest of the issue is in fabulous shape. So let's go check out the grader notes and see what those say. Okay, so here are the grader notes on the Steph Curry cover. And you can see right there are the grader notes. Light creasing to cover, light spine stress lines to cover. And man, gave me an 8.5. I mean, those are pretty small flaws for them to take this down to an 8.5. So what I think you're seeing here is this was just a grader that was just downgrading significantly harder than you would normally see. Yes, the issue does have light creasing to cover. Yes, there are light spine stress lines to cover, but they are ultra light. And what you would normally see in an issue like this, because there's no spine ticks that break color, there's no color on the spine on the back, so I'm not going to get any color break there. The back is completely clean. The rest of the slab is completely clean. What you would normally see in a situation like this, what I've seen 100 times, is this is a 9.6, a 9.4, maybe a 9.2. So I think that what we just ran into here is a grader that was just going to be really aggressive and take those couple of defects that were there and unfortunately give me a massive downgrade on them. So next up is this Michael Jordan issue. This is Raging Bull. This is from May 1989. It's one of my favorite Jordan covers. I absolutely love it. You can see that 5.5. Now, I knew this book wasn't perfect by a long shot, but I was thinking more like 7.5. Let's see if we can get in here and take a look at this. Get some glare on there. We do have a little bit of color break there. A little bit of spine tick that breaks color there. But as you can see, a little bit of corner. So we've got some corner ink that's come off there. The rest of it looks pretty clean. Back's pretty clean. Spine on the back, very clean. You can see that along the glare there. There's really not much happening there. Rest of it's really clean. And I get it. You got a couple spine ticks that break color. There's multiple of them, and they're probably 1/2 inch long each. That's probably going to take you down. There's a couple other flaws on this that you couldn't see. 95% of the time, you're looking at about a 7.5. So let's go take a look at the grader notes. All right, here are the grader notes from the Jordan issue from 1989. Heavy creasing to cover, heavy spine stress lines to cover, light spine splits to cover. And there's the final grade, 5.5. Way too aggressive of a grade on the negative side for that. And again, it's just not heavy creasing to cover, and those just aren't heavy spine stress lines to cover. Are they light creasing to cover? Sure. Are they light spine stress lines to cover? Sure. But unfortunately, ran into a grader that just really crushed me on those flaws. So is there heavy creasing to cover? No, not in my opinion. Is there light creasing to cover? Sure, absolutely. There's light creasing to cover. Are there heavy spine stress lines to cover? Absolutely not. Are there light spine stress lines to cover? Yes, for certain. Are there light spine splits to cover? Now, I think what that grader, normally what you see are spine ticks that break color or spine stress lines that break color. Yes, there are some light spine splits to cover. So what I think you're seeing a grader here is that there are some flaws on this they viewed the flaws as being dramatically worse than what they normally are. So I think that kind of solves, for starters, there's the grader notes, and solves the mystery as to, what the flaws were in these magazines. Both of these took a dramatically harder hit for those flaws than, like I said, you would see 95% of the time. So just be aware of this going into things. Look, this is where we are now. CGC has massively ramped up their ability to grade comics and magazines, which is what we wanted them to do. The wait time was 1 to 2 years there for a while during the pandemic. And it was awful. So they opened up this brand new warehouse space, this new facility, an additional facility. They hired all these additional graders. There's no way that you can inject that many new graders and that new facility into an existing process and not have inconsistency as a result of it. There's just no way to do it. Not much we can do about it, but it is something that you should be aware of, and keep that in mind when you send your issues in. And who knows, maybe I'll crack these and repress them and send them back in, because that's about the only recourse that we've got right now. But keep in mind, grading with CGC, very inconsistent right now. I'm seeing that in a lot of comic books as well. I know a lot of, I'm lightly in the comic book world, but I know people that are way into it and heavily into it, and they're saying the exact same thing. Lots of inconsistency as far as comic book grading, lots of inconsistency as far as magazine grading. So I hope this was a helpful follow-up, and really appreciate you watching. Drop more comments if you got them. Thanks, guys. See ya.